Hollywood in shock. Michael B. Jordan is no longer just an actor. Now he's the main trigger of the US justice system. What began as an effort to help one wrongfully accused teenager has sparked a chain reaction that's already changing the rules in courtrooms across the country. The press calls him America's conscience, while critics brand him a dangerous Hollywood vigilante. But one thing is clear: after Michael's emotional courtroom speech defending yet another accused individual, this time a nurse scapegoated for systemic failures, there's no turning back. If you thought you knew Michael B. Jordan as just a blockbuster star, think again. This man is stepping beyond the screen, straight into the heart of America's most pressing social conflicts. Behind the scenes, shock, industry pushback, and threats to cancel contracts. On the front lines, a stage where every word lands like a verdict. A police officer behind the wheel, a white man in his 40s, stared grimly at a silhouette. Thin, fidgety, a black kid. A child. But he didn't see a child. He saw suspicion. A potential threat. "Left the store without a bag," crackled over the radio. That was enough. The kid darted into a courtyard, vaulted over a fence, and stopped, his heart pounding like a basketball against a hoop. Before him stretched an empty basketball court. Under a streetlight stood a figure, tall, unshakable, hood pulled over his head. The figure turned slowly. For a moment, the world froze. It was him, Michael B. Jordan. Not on a red carpet, not on a magazine cover, but here, in the quiet of the night, alone. Sweat on his brow, hands calloused, standing barefoot in gym shorts and a tank top, holding a basketball. His eyes, dark and steady, pierced straight through. The kid froze. Police cars were already pulling up to the fence. "Did you do something?" Michael asked calmly. "No, sir," the kid whispered. "They think I stole something." Michael didn't answer right away. He simply walked past the kid, positioning himself between him and the approaching officers. The patrol car's lights locked onto him like spotlights. "Step back, sir. We need to talk to the kid," an officer said, stepping out of the car. "He's with me," Michael replied. His voice was calm but solid as stone. "He's playing here, like me." "And who are you?" The officer tried to move around him, but Michael didn't budge. And then it began, something the whole neighborhood would remember. The officer tried to push past him, unsuccessfully. Michael didn't raise his voice. He didn't curse, didn't fight, didn't call for a protest. He just stood there. And that was enough to fill the air with tension. A moment when society comes face to face with truth. "You don't recognize me, do you?" Michael said, offering a sad smile. "You have a type. And when I'm not in a suit without a stylist, I'm just another suspicious figure, another shadow." "Sir, that's irrelevant." "It's not," Michael cut him off, "because you decide whether I'm a hero or a threat. Not me, and not him." The kid stayed silent. He didn't yet grasp what had just happened, but he remembered the world could change in one night, because of one man who stepped out of the shadows. The kid, Jamal, stood in an oversized grey suit, clearly pulled from a storage closet. His face, usually serious, now carried the look of someone who couldn't believe this was real. Around him were adults in suits, their words seeming to outweigh the truth. "We have testimony that the suspect left the store without paying for items," the prosecutor said, a wiry man with overly polished speech. "Cameras didn't catch a theft, but it's important that such actions don't go unpunished. We request a suspended sentence as a corrective measure." Silence fell over the courtroom. Then the doors opened. Michael B. Jordan, no security, no manager, in a simple black sweater and dark jeans. He walked past the benches, stopping directly in front of the judge. "I'd like to testify," he said calmly. "Your name?" the judge asked, a black woman in her 60s with a deep voice and eyes that seemed to have seen it all. "Michael B. Jordan, actor, producer, and just a person who was there that night." The prosecutor grimaced. Jamal's defense attorney let out a relieved sigh. "Proceed, Mr. Jordan." "That night, the kid wasn't running from a crime. He was running from fear. He didn't steal anything. I was there. I saw him leave the store, empty-handed. But even if he had taken something, do you really think a kid growing up in a system where a store is more of a refuge than a school deserves to be labeled a criminal?" The prosecutor tried to object, but the judge raised her hand. "And what do you propose, Mr. Jordan?" Michael paused. His voice was steady, firmer than stone. "I propose we face the truth. The problem isn't this kid. The problem is that we, as adults, let a system destroy him before he has a chance to grow. I'll take responsibility. If the court agrees, I'll be his mentor. Weekly. Real rehabilitation isn't a suspended sentence. It's a chance, and I'll give him that chance." A rustle spread through the courtroom. Someone sighed, someone wiped away a tear. The judge sat in silence for a long time, looking at Jamal, then the prosecutor, then Michael. Case dismissed. The suspended sentence is replaced with a mentorship program under supervision. "Thank you, Mr. Jordan." After the hearing, Jamal lingered by the door. He didn't know what to say. Finally, he spoke. "Why did you do this?" Michael looked him in the eyes, slowly, without pretense. "Because someone once did this for me, and I survived. Now it's your turn." The judge didn't even look up as the doors opened again. The courtroom smelled of vending machine coffee and damp paper. The case involved William Bill Sanders, a 62-year-old retired security guard accused of excessive use of force at a pharmacy while trying to detain a man stealing insulin. The victim, an African-American male, 33 years old. Footage shows the defendant throwing him to the ground. The prosecutor said his tone as flat as a microwave manual. The victim sustained bruises and the defendant violated de-escalation protocols. "We propose 60 days probation." Silence. Bill sat hunched, his trembling hands calloused from years of labor, hands that held up buildings, factories, schools. But today his eyes held despair. "My son's a diabetic." Bill said softly, "I saw that man take the insulin and thought maybe it's just theft. But I was wrong. He wasn't stealing. He was fighting for his life. I didn't mean harm. I just didn't have time to think." Then the doors again. The same footsteps, the same silence. Michael B. Jordan entered for the second time that week. The room froze. Even the judge glanced up briefly. "Your name?" "Michael B. Jordan. You wish to testify again?" "I want to speak for a man this system forgot long ago. He protected us, our pharmacies, our streets. He guarded people not for money, $14 an hour. And now we're accusing him because he didn't complete a compassion training in half a second." The prosecutor opened his mouth, but Michael turned sharply. "Tell me honestly, how much are you paid per case like this? And how much is the truth worth? If this man is a criminal, then him next. Because I live in a world where people like him are written off. We're all on a list until we're useful." Silence again. Someone wept. Someone clenched their fists. Michael turned to the judge. "Don't let them destroy a man for one mistake when thousands of intentional crimes go unpunished every day. He doesn't need a sentence. He needs respect." The judge stared at Michael, then at Bill. "You're not perfect, Mr. Sanders. But I agree with Mr. Jordan, we've forgotten how to be human. Case closed. But I require you to complete community service, not as punishment, but as a lesson alongside Mr. Jordan. Maybe hell teach you how to speak when it hurts." Outside, Bill stopped Michael. "Why are you doing this, kid?" "Because silence is no longer an option," Michael replied. Good Morning America opened with footage that had already swept the nation. Michael B. Jordan's determined face in court headlines crawling below. Hollywood actor defends criminals. Grand stage or grand heart star interferes in the justice system. His phone didn't stop ringing. His PR director begged him to step back. Producers cancelled a promotional campaign for his new film. Netflix delayed a premiere. "You've crossed a line, Mike. You're not just an actor anymore. You're a precedent," his agent said. Michael paused, looking at the crowd. Their faces held no fanaticism, only gratitude and hope. Quiet, human, the kind newsreels don't show. That evening, he returned to the courtroom, not as a witness, but as a citizen, filing a petition to the city for a fair intervention fund. The idea was simple: public figures could officially speak in court on behalf of ordinary people, not as lawyers, but as citizens with a voice. Someone had to speak when the system forgot to listen. He stood before the same judge who'd barely looked up before. "I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a citizen of this country. And I believe everyone deserves a defense, even if they're not perfect, especially if they're not perfect. Because we're all imperfect. You're creating a new precedent. Mr. Jordan, the judge, replied, "That's dangerous. Silence is more dangerous." In the weeks that followed, others appeared in courtrooms, actors, doctors, veterans. Each spoke for an ordinary person. The system tried to erase word by word, voice by voice. When a study came out one morning, 87% of elderly citizens called Michael's actions important for the country. He just looked out the window and whispered, "This isn't about me, it's about us." This story isn't about fame or heroism. It's about the strength not in muscles or status, but in the ability to stand up and say no when the world grows used to silence. Michael B. Jordan didn't change the system in a day, but he reminded us that everyone has a voice, and being seen isn't a privilege. It's a right. We live in a world where a mistake can cost freedom, but also in a world where a stranger's voice can bring it back.